359 BC, 3536 AM. The king of Macedon, Perdiccas, marched against Illyria, leaving Philip to rule Macedon in his absence, his 24-year-old little brother. But Perdiccas was killed in battle and his army slaughtered, leaving Philip as king of Macedon. The Athenians tried to back a man named Archaix to rule Macedon, but Philip defeated him in battle. Philip as a youth received his military training at Thebes, where he was a hostage, taught by the great military strategist Epaminondas. Philip was an educated man, aware of the writings of Herodotus, Isocrates and Xenophon, and he studied the plausibility of a conquest of Asia by a confederation of Greek nations. Philip designed the Macedonian phalanx system of infantry, and essentially invented modern cavalry by training mounted fighters to fight as a unit instead of a mass of horsemen. His archers were instructed to shoot not men in chariots or on horses, but the animals themselves. Philip emerges quickly as a major Greek power as he begins solidifying alliances, one such alliance resulting with his marriage to Olympias, a princess of the kingdom of Epirus, a rival state. She is described as ruthless and sometimes deranged, full of hatred for Philip because as a princess of Epirus, she is an outsider and easily replaced with a Macedonian woman should Philip seek one. She will become the mother of Alexander the Great. The importance of this year to ancient Israel is clearly seen in the calendrics. The Jewish calendar began from the reckoning of years before the flood, or put another way, from the start date of some now forgotten calendar. That was 3671 BC, or 3312 years before this date, being 552 times 6, or 414 times 8, or 24 complete orbits of Phoenix every 138 years. The ancient Aegean world was ruled by the Israelite Danaan dynasty of Macedon that was founded in 1255 BC, exactly 448 years before the year Macedon was founded in 807 BC, and 448 more years after the founding of Macedon was this year of 359 BC, when Macedon begins its empire. 1. Alexander of Macedon. 2. The 33 strategies of war. 3. A short history of the world. 356 BC, 3539 AM. Myrtale, a princess of the Molossian dynasty of Epirus, now called Olympias of Macedonia, wife of Philip, gives birth to Alexander. Historians claim strange omens appeared in the skies at the birth of Alexander, but this may be nothing more than retrospective enhancement. Alexander would grow up to forever change the demographics of the ancient world, his life forged before his birth in the annals of biblical prophecy. From his birth counting 2400 years, 600 times 4, the Western world would rule and govern over the global affairs of mankind, everywhere the descendants of Israel dwelt. Following Macedon, the Romans would rule and then fall by the Germans, then the various European powers until in the last days in 2046 AD, the entire Western world would end. See Anunnaki Homeworld and Nostradamus and the Planets of Apocalypse. In this year, the magnificent temple of Diana, Artemis, at Ephesus was burnt down, 195 years after it was finished, the temple taking 120 years to finish. This year is exactly 210 years, 70 times 3, 2520 months, before the fall of Macedonia and Greece to Rome in 146 BC. 1. Pliny, Natural History, footnote 3. 349 BC, 3546 AM. In this, the third year of the 107th Olympiad, as King Philip of Macedon was causing chaos throughout Greece, the sky appeared to open up and spew blood and fire upon the land. In this year, the Sodom-Trojan Apocalypse comet group appeared in the inner solar system after 280 years over the ecliptic. This was 3960, 792 times 5 years of Phoenix chronology, and 396, half of 792, after the Assyrians carried the Israelites into captivity in 745 BC. This was 3024 years, 1008, major golden proportion number, of Olmec calendar, and 880 years, 80 times 11, after the fall of Troy, when the same astronomical occurrences happened in 1229 BC. 1. Pliny, Natural History, the Universe and the World. 348 BC, 3547 AM. Carthage and Rome enter into a treaty over trade boundaries, with Carthage exercising dominance in the negotiations. 1 Phoenicians. 347 BC, 3548 AM. Famous Greek philosopher and writer Plato died in his study, his head lying upon the open book of Sophron. Aristotle was 37 years old. Alexander was 9 years old. 1. The Story of Astrology. 346 BC, 3549 AM. The local Phocians took control over the Delphic oracle and temple, which had been their responsibility since ancient times. The Delphic oracles was the pride of the Phocians, but 75 years earlier the Spartans wrested away control of the Phocians from Athens in 421 BC, this 75 years being 900 months. Since then, an interstate religious body called the Amphictyonic Council was responsible for the administration of the Delphic oracle, a constant wound to the Phocians. After the Phocians took back the oracle, the council appealed to King Philip of Macedon, who was emerging as the dominant power of Greekdom. He defeated the Phocians in what has now been called the Sacred War, becoming the most powerful ruler in all Greece. Later that year, Isocrates published his address to Philip, calling him to lead a pan-Hellenic war against Persia. 1. Alexander of Macedon.